Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing iRacing GTE League. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box, always happy to say, is the graphics god himself, Mr. Nick Domino.
Always a pleasure.
And the one and only Mr. James Clay.
Good to be here.
Final round of the season and what is sadly going to be my final GTE broadcast for AOR, certainly in the short term. So then, let's see who we have got gracing this wonderful circuit of Le Mans. Let's have a look there. Now, everybody is out there for 3 timed laps. It's solo qualifying, so we won't see anybody else. No one's going to be interfering with anyone else. All 3 classes are out there at the same time, so I'm just going to literally run through top to bottom. It's going to be a mixture of which category we see. It's just the list that they appear on my Atvo screen. So we have got the 188 Ferrari, Comrade Gaming Solo Ferrari of Martin Nadlik, a much bigger contingent of Ferrari this time around. We did rather touch upon why last week. Comrade Gaming Black Porsche, number 109 of Christoph Holstein. 307, the Team Cruising Missiles BMW of Michael Pari. 234 is the Orange Mechanic Porsche of Thomas Santo. 119 is the Comrade Gaming White BMW of Blair Mann. 245 is the Raptor Racing Team Yellow BMW of Stephen Brumfield. 382 the V3 Racing Ferrari of Stefan Kamke. 202 is the Raptor Racing Team Orange Ford of Michael Mariani. 366 is the V3 Racing BMW of Merlin Cooper. 328 is the Raptor Racing Team Red BMW of Daniele Mamano. 214 the Team Dingo BMW of Andreas Lutus. 262 is the SRC Porsche of Roberto Edouard. 375 is the Hyperion Racing TBA BMW of Jamie Smith. 121 is the Team Tepper Ferrari. He's jumped over to the Ferrari. He should be bright green, but he is in a Ferrari this time out. It's Rainer Talvar. 124 is the Comrade Gaming White BMW of Arjen van Putten. 168, staying loyal to his colours, is the Team Tepper Ford of James Pinsker. 377 is the Team Cruising Missiles BMW of Raimo Cooley. 232, the Team Tepper Masterplan BMW of Tom Hooper. We're starting to see some times come on the board. 127 is the Team Shazoo Ford of Reese Newland. 111 is the Comrade Gaming Black Porsche of Alex Bennett. 173 the Venom Motorsports BMW of Michael Edens. 370 is the Raptor Racing Team Yellow BMW of Alessandro Pontecorvi. 204 is the Hyperion Racing White Ford of Victor Matias. 103 the Venom Motorsports BMW of John Halliwell. 217 is the Team Tepper Turn Porsche of Thomas Lagney. 293 the Grinning Ford, it's the Hyperion Racing White entrant of Chris Yardley. 346 is the Raptor Racing Team Orange Porsche of Luca Lodato. 271, bit of a confusion on what colour this car is. On my screen he is black, but weirdly on for my co-commentators that car is orange. It is the Privateer Porsche of Dan Alpol. And finally the changing colour on my screen, the Team Tepper Turn BMW of Philip Schiff. A couple of cars have not gone out on track. The 185 Ford is of Andy Gorton for Tag Racing UK, and the 200 Ford for Team AOR of Sarah Dove weirdly has not gone on track. But current leader of the pack is the Ferrari of Rainer Talvar, as he was in practice, leads by half a second, which is still very close considering it's a 3-minute 50 lap here at Le Mans. Are we thinking Rainier's going to run away with this one, gentlemen?
I think it'll be followed by Martin Nadley, but that's mainly just because they're both in Ferraris. The thing is with Mr. Gorton is that while qualifying had been underway, he had some connection issues. His throughput fell to an unacceptable level according to iRacing, which means that basically either his game crashed or his internet went or something, but he is back.
Yes.
And so he should still be able to get a time on the board, however he will be on the back foot.
Very much so. The Tag Racing UK Ford of Andy Gorton has started his... Well, that's his very first run, so his tyres are going to be freezing cold. Now, we were discussing off air that the solo qualifying with the current tyre model does not suit particularly well. It takes quite a while for these tyres to get up to proper temperature, so the first lap is fairly irrelevant, quite frankly, but it's going to take a while for these guys to get up to speed.
Yes, and interestingly enough, while the qualifying had just started, I noticed that both Rainer Talvar and James Pinsker, who are two that you'd probably expect to be running quite near the front of this field, messed up their first laps, and instead of choosing to continue and keep their tyres nice and warm, they decided to escape and reset their laps and reset their tyre temperature. So they only got 2 essentially flying laps, and that means that potentially their tyres won't be too great. I mean, it depends how good the tyres are on this third lap that some drivers will have and some drivers won't, depending on whether they reset or not.
Yeah, but it's also, they need to take in the temperature, because the track is, well, saying that it's warm or hot is kind of an understatement. We are at 47 degrees out there, track temperature.
Toasty.
So the tires, at the end of lap 2 will maybe even, you maybe start to see some overheating. Some cars and some drivers can keep the tires in a window where they can really, push all the way through. So that might be something where they have had their minds, and sometimes it's just what that oh, I have to go back, so that's what I do, and you don't really think about that might not have been the best idea here.
Michael Mariani, we just saw he's binned it at Indianapolis in the Raptor Ford. He's jumped back on track, actually. Interesting.
As Holstein is still P5, is he the highest Porsche?
Yes.
What do we think about the Porsche around here?
It's argued to be the second best car. It's apparently from what I've seen from drivers arguing mainly. It's about whether the Porsche or the Ford is second fastest. They are very close, and I think it's one of those ones where the driver can sometimes make a bit more of a difference than the car in that situation. So Porsche probably has maybe an inch on the Ford, but those two are very close. And then the BMW is more the BMW M6 GT3 rather than the BMW M8 GTE in terms of its pace around here.
This is fallen from grace. I remember a season or two ago that it was just the most dominant car around here. So
last season was last season was BMW fixed, and this season is quite literally a GT3 car.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for it, it's not getting a buff in the next season patch. So I think iRacing might have to do a mid-season bop for that one, because personally, from what I've seen this season, I can't see any reason why the BMW hasn't been given a performance increase, whereas the Ferrari has. Next season, the Ferrari will have an extra 5 kilograms taken off of it. And if you think it's quick here now, next season is going to be so fast.
Now, one thing I do wish to point out, the Venom Motorsports pair of John Halliwell and Michael Edens, currently 10th and 11th, have been very courteous to me. This being my last GTE race, there is also another race that's going to go on this Wednesday, which we will talk about at the end of the broadcast. If I go to the rear chase camera and look on the left-hand side of the bonnet, both of the BMWs are carrying my face, which I was not expecting, and it was actually Michael that messaged me yesterday or the day before to say that the Venom Motorsports player were doing that. It's difficult to tell, but on the roof, if we go to... There, you can see that they have "Thank you, King-Kodiak" on the top of that. Oh, very well parked, John. That was perfectly in front of the camera for me to show off the for the roof. There it is again. The thank you message on the roof. As we see Michael Edens pass the camera. That is very kind of you. It is the messages I've had have been very very heartwarming, very touching. What can I say? It is a great shame that I am having to bring to an end my involvement in this league, because it really has been my favourite league to cover for every, AOR or not. It has been my favourite league to cover. I do it for the love of doing it, always have done, but it's nice that I'm being well received, but I don't want to hark on about that too much. The Venom Motorsports pair being absolutely bonkers and carrying my face on their bonnet.
As it should be.
Alex,
I believe the first
if
race
I have had the time, I would have put it on all cars.
Oh, you would have done as well.
I was close to ask Edens if, what is it with that, and, just mandatory have it on, that
would have been quite disturbing, I think, if every single car had my face on it. As we've just seen Alex Bennett leave that very, very late to get his time in. A 3:51.0 puts him in 5th position. There is Andy Gorton, who hasn't got a time on the board. Thomas Santo has not got a time on the board. Philip Schiff is stationary. He's in the pits.
I think he has a pit lane start.
That would be right. Santo is...
I think he has some sort of pit lane penalty, but I don't know if it's like a stop go or a pit lane start, but I think it's a pit lane start. I will share my story as well, in terms of this being sort of a farewell, or not quite the farewell race, like you mentioned, but interestingly enough, I think the first race that I raced in that you commentated on was at this track as well, so things have come full circle, and we've gone from the first race I ever did with you commentating here to the last race last official race. We have a bit of fun coming, but that will happen will be here as well. I distinctly remember I was cutting through some traffic, and I think you were on board with some GTE cars at the time, and I shot across the screen, and you made a very startled noise when it happened.
That sounds about right, yes.
So,
Gordon, I think, just went a bit too wide, and I think he might have lost that lap there.
He's not got an incident point on the board, so he might have just got away.
He should be fine then if he hasn't had to slow down for a slowdown, which he doesn't appear to.
I think
he's just got away with that.
Let's follow him through then, as he's coming through.
But he will lose time from being out on the grass, but this will be his last lap. He doesn't have time to complete the third one that he does have available.
Indeed, but let's see what he manages to do.
Coming through Corvette curve.
He is indeed. Coming up to the Ford curves. Funnily enough, I was doing a different commentary over the weekend at Le Mans, and I remarked on just how much these bumps chuck the driver around. It's the GTEs handle it better, although that sausage cup always looks like it's ready to kill you at the exit of the Ford curves. What does Andy Gorton manage to do? It is not...
Improves 1.
Oh, yes, he does. Beg your pardon. Up to 7th position with a 3:51.341 on the board, and that is it. No one else is running. Qualifying is done. Perfectly timed. The session is over. So then, let's have a look. Rainer Talvar and James Pinsker. Team Tepper once again being well represented at the front of the field. Then it is Nadlik, Newland, Bennett, Holstein, Gorton, Mann, Dan Alpole at the top of the Pro-Am field. Van Putten, Hooper, Edens, Halliwell, Brumfield, Edouard, Lagney, Matios, Mariani, Lutus, Luca Lodato, top of the Am field. Then Cooper, Santo, Cooley, Pontecorvi, Mamano, Kamke, Pari, Yardley, Smith, and Saradov, and Philip Schiff not setting a time. I don't believe they set a time. No, they didn't. Yeah, they were the two that will be starting from the back, or we think that Philip Schiff is starting from the pit lane. 31 drivers we will be seeing to finish this season off.
Okay, we've got some interesting things going on in the driver chat.
Go on.
People are saying no heroics into Sandovot, please, which is a reference to the F1 games, if anyone has seen those. We've got single file through Eau Rouge, which is interestingly enough. So I feel like we've got some people that really don't want to have a crash here on the first lap. And having seen the cold tyres in action so far this week, 11 times going into turn 1, I know full well that things can happen. I've had people shoot it down my inside because they've braked at their normal braking point and the tyres don't grip because they're cold, and have just shot through that first chicane onto the runoff. And let's just say that thankfully I've not seen many people turn in. They've been expecting these outbraking maneuvers.
Yeah, and people just need to do that, you know, and it just comes when they learn it after
But
a
it's
bit.
lemons. That's the thing. It's Le Mans. You get excited with the track like Le Mans.
We have lost Philip Schiff. So
Oh dear.
he will therefore probably not get back in time, because it takes quite a while to get back into this session. It's a very big track, and iRacing's loading times don't really permit fast loading into here, no matter how good your computer is. It takes quite a while.
And safety car is away, so it is, despite the fact that the Ferrari was the favoured car for this particular lap, this circuit, it is still Ferrari Ford up front, but then we haven't seen Ferrari all season, so it is still a huge boon for the Italian marque to be towards the front as we are working our way down towards the Porsche curves. Of course, a Porsche safety car, of course it is.
It needs to be, you know.
Yeah, it must.
I mean, it has to be a Porsche safety car here.
Yeah.
19 or 20 wins, I can't remember. I think it's 20 overall wins here that they have. German cars have some. I think German cars have somewhere around 40 to 50 wins here, and obviously German cars make up 2/3 of the manufacturers. But it's obviously the Fords and the Ferraris at front, which is another rivalry that was classic at this venue. So all kinds of things just being reoccurring in a cars that obviously doesn't normally fight at the front here, but gets to be put on shown in this league because a lot of people like driving these cars. And these cars are made for this circuit, and it's what they're built for, and the Ferrari especially has pulled that off today.
Yeah, they have. So coming into towards the forward curves. I'm on the blimp cam. We just had the aircraft kick off. I actually thought that was a crack of thunder. I was like, hang on, when did rain get introduced?
That's the flight.
I don't know what setting it is, but I can never hear them.
Oh, I certainly can.
I heard them as well. Right?
Everyone always hears them, and I can't ever hear it. I clearly have some setting turned off.
Well,
That, what a load there.
and there it is. That's the entire field.
They're away.
I did wonder whether Rayner had actually gone and then stopped, but he hasn't. We are racing here at Le Mans. Oh, they hit that last sausage curve very, very hard. But away we go then to see the season off. And, yeah, as mentioned, Philip Schiff has not made it back to us. A great shame. Everybody else, 30 cars then, will roar into life around this French behemoth to see the season off. So then, who is going to have trouble through these first few turns? Let's jump to the tail of the field. Oh my goodness, at the back end of the field, there is 3 or 4 wide going on. So far, so good for everyone. I don't see anybody kicking up a lot of dust. Seems to be behaving themselves, not seeing any major gaps. Well, except for the fact that... oh, I spoke too soon! Saradov is the first casualty of the night. What on
That
earth?
was his solo,
Yeah.
and the influences just were a bit too fast on the accelerator.
Yeah, not enough grip with those very cold tyres as yet, which was exactly what James was talking... well, what both of you were talking about, in fairness. But now screaming down towards the first of the hairpins for the entire field. A bit of looking around going on. Reece Newland trying to look around Martin Nadleek for third position, but at the moment no changes going on there.
We've got a lot of side-by-side action going into the first Mulsanne chicane.
Yeah, there is.
But everybody seems to be navigating it perfectly well, not many incidents going on. One thing I love about those chicanes is if you directly translate them from French, they quite literally just mean slowing places.
Well, not inaccurate.
I mean, that's why they were introduced, because of how long this straight used to be.
Indeed.
So, Philip Schiff has tried connecting and has failed to connect again, and is trying to connect once again. So,
Oh, trouble!
Yeah.
We've got trouble! It's Blair Mann! Blair Mann's had trouble in the BMW. Oh, way too hot into the second chicane. Way too hot. And that is going to just plummet him towards the tail. He's still stationary.
It's such an easy mistake to do because in the second chicane, when you're braking, you're not, done with your braking until you actually almost hit the second curb. So, when you're switching a direction, so that's actually very easy to do because you need that speed in there, and you can take it, but it's just right on the limit. And with these cold tires, that's not.
Oh, another trouble! That's another one.
Mustang corner. That is Stefan Kamke.
Yes, it is indeed. Oh, too hot! He was by a mere fraction of a second. It's too late on his brakes, but there is that dreaded icy gravel trap. But how the physics are at the moment, it's costing a huge amount of time.
He has kept it out of the wall, which is the main positive from that.
I would imagine he clenched quite a bit trying to keep it out of the wall. But
yeah, there was a huge puff of smoke from some lockups.
And the top three, interestingly, Rainer Talvar was very close to getting a second away from James Pinsker, but James had been slowly nibbling away at that gap, and he's dragging Martin Nadley with him. So at the moment, it is still Ferrari Ford.
We have to see as they come through the Porsche curves, followed into the karting S's, just to see how that gap sort of ebbs and flows. There are two main places where the gaps change a lot on this track, and that's the straights and the Porsche curves, because those two different sections are very opposing in the way you set up your car. And so you quite often find that you can gain as much on the straights as you can gain back in Porsche curves in some setup.
Ooh, that's why Mr. Talvar managed to keep it off the dust at least. And
he does extend to a second through the twisty bits.
He does indeed. Ooh,
Philip Schiff has finally joined us, but he has lost a lap.
He has lost 2 laps on my screen.
Well, it's because the game hasn't officially recognised his first lap as starting yet.
I
He is
see.
still technically on lap 0.
Oh, that's a great shame, but there he is, waiting to get underway. He's doing the right thing. He's waiting for a gap in the field, and that means he will.
I don't actually think he's legally allowed to go because he hasn't started his pit lane start, so he has to wait for the field to pass or something.
Indeed.
I wouldn't put it past iRacing to have a system.
We just saw a dove fly past, so trouble. That's Thomas Santo. I think he's over.
And Cooley has been off as well.
Raimo Cooley indeed. Oops, a little bit too heavy on the right foot. Yeah, that's Raimo Cooley.
Blair Mann has sent it around the outside of the Tetra Rouge S's on, I think that was Chris Yardley. So he's starting his fight back from basically last. He's up into 27th position at the moment.
Oh, there is Lagney and Merlin Cooper swapping round. That's for 20th position. And now up front, Rainer Talvar now leads by 1.3 seconds. James Pinsker wishes he did have that kind of gap. There's only 0.3 of a second separating himself and Martin Nadley at the moment. And there's not going to be any kind of team working going on between those two. Is the Ferrari going to jump out from behind the Ford?
He sort of stalled. He was gaining on
Trouble!
Pinsker.
Oh, trouble! First chicane again. That is Raimo Cooley. Yep, as Thomas Santo again. That's facing the wrong way. Has hit the BMW twice. Oh dear. Thomas Santo is not having a good day today.
That's just a bit of a clumsy one, really. I mean, it's hard to kind of put blame. Oh, well, it's easy to put blame on both of them, really. It's hard to kind of put it on either side. Raimo kind of did deserve space, but at the same time, it's one of those sections where you can't really gain anything if you're that far behind on the inside, and because Santo would just have the inside line to the next corner, and there would be no point making the move anyway. So,
as Victor Mathias has, also gone a bit too deep into the second chicane, has been losing at quite a few places there.
He
would have got a slow down from that. However, what he's tried there is a cut that you might see some of the drivers utilising today. Is that if you run? I mean, Victor just ran quite deep, but some people like Talvar, I know, has been using it already. Is you can cut that final corner in the second chicane on the Mulsanne, and you will not get a penalty. You will not get a slowdown. and you'll gain quite a bit of time from it because you can just sort of straight line. And obviously that gives you very good exit as you head towards Mulsanne Corner.
On that curb?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to be very careful, because if you hit the curb, I have been racing here where we completely destroyed the floor and had half an hour's repair time. So you have to be really careful, because if you hit that curb, it will destroy you.
Risky.
Yeah.
Nadlik was close at one point just before we cut to him. Looked like he was ready to make the pass on the Ford, but James Pinsker fending off the advances of Martin Nadlik for now at least. But
as the battle for P8 is getting really, really hot, as Alpol is trying to get past Van Booten here. Is he gonna dive? No, I think
surely too risky into the as a last lap effort. I would have thought, but it's too risky to make a pass on the Ford curves, no?
Well, yeah, but if you do, and you get it right, the other guy kind of have to go completely off and let you go by. Otherwise, he will not go through the corner.
Blairman,
so it is risky.
Blairman up to 24th now on his recovery drive. What's happened to Stephen Brumfield? Oh, he's very, very, very slow. Is he stopping? I think Stephen Brumfield has got a technical trouble. He was doing quite happily, and then, yeah, he's just pulled over. He has stopped. Oh no, he's going again. He's had trouble of some description, as has Mikko Pari. I think he's lost another few positions. That's a bit of a weird one for Stephen Brumfield, and we've got Raimo Cooley. That's why Raimo Cooley's fallen through the field. He's in the pits. The car doesn't.
Well, he has got a very rearranged BMW after that incident in the chicane last lap.
Oh, look at this! James Pinsker and Martin Nadlik very, very close, but look behind Alex Bennett. Oh, that's getting very, very busy. Andy Gorton trying to get through.
This all started because Reece Newland has had some form of issue.
He was at the front
going
of this
through
pack,
the S's before Tetra Rouge. He's got on the grass on turn-in. He's kind of Tokyo drifted it through the first apex, and somehow Bennett has avoided him. Gorton has avoided him. Holstein's avoided him.
That was just replayed that one for the stream, and that was close. Very, very close. So Bennett.
That cannot be bias.
You wouldn't have thought so by now, sure. But Alex Bennett now leads that particular train in fourth position in the Comrade Gaming Treble 1 Porsche. So with Andy Gorton really breathing down his diffuser. And then Christoph Holstein and Reece Newland now at the back of that particular pack. Then behind them, you have got this pack, which is Arjen van Putten, Dan Alpol and Tom Hooper battling for 8th place. Michael Edens and John Halliwell, the Venom pair. Well, they're probably not fighting each other too hard.
The battle for your face, apparently.
For those that didn't see it, there it is. There is a farewell thank you for them, from them, I should say. They've got my face on their bonnet and on the roof.
Romano was having a look at Mikko Pari into Mulsanne Corner as that was all going on, but nothing could stick there. And then we've got Chris Vialli, is trying to make a move on the car in front of him, and I think he has.
Yes, indeed. Stephen Brumfield is through. Lots of changing going. Oh dear, Victor Matios is in trouble. He's lost time along with Luca D'Adato. They've both made an error somewhere and lost some distance heading down towards Indianapolis. Blair Mann is just, flown past Alessandro Portacorvi. Stephen Brumfield, Chris Yardley have swapped around again. We've just seen the Ford ahead of the BMW. Oh no, we just lost Holstein. Oh, he's done this before though. He's caught me out, and there he goes. He's reappeared right in the middle of this particular pack. Don't do that, Mr. Holstein. You keep catching me out doing that. Sort your internet connection out.
Well, he's not as good as Alex Bennett has been. Bennett has really been the master of doing this.
Oh yeah, what, the lag reappear?
Oh yeah. It was just, especially in Formula 3, that was horrible.
Didn't he do a whole lap or something?
The worst one that he had was just after he moved house, I think it was. I think last season or the season before at Road Atlanta, where he quite literally disappeared for about a lap and a half.
Wow. And then, ta-da!
and then retired because he didn't want to crash into anybody because he was lagging so much. But
I mean,
yeah,
at least he took the sensible decision at that point. Oh,
yeah, but that's why it happened, was because he just moved house at the time, so his internet was very iffy.
The cruising missiles pair are struggling somewhat. Miko Pari has just been overtaken by Jamie Smith, and we did see Romo Cooley in the pits for just over 2 minutes, beginning to end. So he's now that far behind Stefan Kamke at the tail of the field. The Venom pair have swapped round. John Hallowell now leads Michael Edens. That's, I'm sure, was an orchestrated move between those two. Fair play to them, but Alex Bennett is now starting to break away a little bit from Andy Gorton, but that could well change all the way down the Molson Street. Hey, has someone joined the back of that pack? No.
Well, we've now they are starting to close together a little bit. Van Putten and Alpol are starting to close up to Newland.
Yeah, they did. You're right. Van Putten and Dan Alpol were slightly quicker than the train ahead of them, so that 4-car train could easily gain another 2, and then behind them was Tom Hooper, that's now very much on his own. What's going on with Merlin Cooper? He has been overtaken by Luke Lodato, so we're still side by side coming into the first chicane. That's close to the Porsche, nearly wrangling into the back of Michael Mariani. Rapture pair, that wouldn't do there. An interesting team briefing. What's going on with Pari? Whoa, that's close. That's Stephen Broomfield diving on the inside of the first chicane ahead of the cruising missiles BMW. But up front, Rainer Talbot is in a league of one at the moment. He's the only man to get a sub 3 minute 50 on the board, but then he's pretty much the only man that doesn't have company, or near enough at least. How much at this stage is there going to be kind of just following in team?
Side by side, sorry to cut you off, with Lodato into the second chicane. Lodato took him over to Mariani, and then he had to back out of that, and Cooper just took the advantage and took the outside. That's not really something that you normally do, as Slackney is trying to get into that fight as well.
Well, this rather answers the question I was just about to ask. How much is it just going to be kind of sitting in the slipstream, or how much is it going to be, moves trying to be made? And this rather answers it, as this pack is having a great old scrap for what is 15th position if you include the Ford ahead of the Michael Mariani, although he's got 1.2 seconds to the good. Joining the back of that is Blair Mann. He's now up to 20th.
Oh, there's a massive incident in Mulsanne Corner just behind them.
Well spotted, James. Oh dear, there's Broomfield, Yardley and Pari. Oh, there's Pari into the back of Broomfield. And Yardley I think he just had his own incident, just happened to be at the same time that Pari and Broomfield came together. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yardley did end up hitting the wall, but very lightly. It was a little bit of a netcode desync sort of contact. There was still a few millimeters between them. But I've seen this actually quite a lot this week where we've had drivers go off there at the same point in time. It's almost as if the grip levels change, so there might be, I don't know, wind changes or something. That just means that because it's such a sensitive breaking point into there. It's a really odd one to describe the feeling as you go into Mulsanne Corner. But it's so on the limit that a slight change in the grip levels means that quite often that can happen. And I think that's just one of those ones that's been illustrated again. But the sensation is kind of, as you're slowing down for that corner, it almost feels like at the end of the braking zone you speed up again. It's a really weird thing to describe out loud, and it makes you sound a bit crazy, but as you slow down for it, it just feels like you don't slow down enough at the end of the braking.
And then you often, slow down more, and then, all the time you're, losing time there. So that's...
Apparently Philip Schiff has blown his engine. He's in. The BMW is teleported back to the pits, and Raimo Cooley has been through the pits for a second time. We haven't even gone through the first 20 minutes.
How has he done that?
That is a very good question. Just looking at the thing. I mean, there is only 20% humidity, which might have something to do with it. I described, I think at Silverstone there was a very odd phenomena where in one of the time slots of ILMS, I think 3 Porsches had their engines blow just like randomly in the middle of the race, and it was very low humidity then. So that could be the cause. It'd be very odd if it was, but yeah, it might be something we have to watch out for at the moment.
Thomas Lagney is getting very, very up close and personal with Luke Lodato. Oh, is there trouble from Pari? Yes, Miko Pari In the Cruising Missiles BMW, that's not how you take the first chicane turn. That's not gone well for you. And jumping back up to Elgato and Lagny very much side by side. And they are getting close to the back of Merlin Cooper is the BMW ahead of them. Oh, this could get really horrible if you guys don't sort this out. Oh, Blair Mann's just shot through and capitalised on that.
The BMW off as well with that. That's Andreas Lutus.
Yeah, Andreas Lutus has had his own issue. I think he was actually trying to let a Porsche go. Oh, well, let's just see that again. Or he just... Well, the Porsche was gaining on him. I'm not sure who that is. Porsche's gone for the inside line, and the BMW's gone in too hot. Oops, and then got spun round by aforementioned Porsche.
Oh, Blair Mann was overtaking...
oh dear.
And then Michael Mariani just missed his braking zone and has started Blair off the road. He's taken to the escape route, which means he probably had to give up a slowdown. But in the end of things, no harm was done, and both drivers have just lost a lot of time.
He's now... Well, there goes Thomas Lagny.
There goes the slowdown.
Yeah. Elgato, there goes Michael Mariani. Oh, that's close. Very, very close coming through the Mulsanne turn. He's back up to speed now, but yeah, that wouldn't have pleased the Scotsman any. That's put him right back in this big pack he's trying to fight his way through. But there's just clumps of there's just people still together everywhere.
At the top, it's just, they have decided that they only want to race in pairs.
Yeah.
We have Talvar who's just decided,
Yeah, he's having his own party up front.
Yeah.
There he is in the front.
And then you have Penske and League, and then you have Bennett and Gordon who has gone away from the battle of Holstein and Newland. And then you have Alpol and Putin behind. And then you have Hooper. And then, with Halwell and Eden, that's the first kind of
That's the first non-pair. Making up for the fact that Rainer Talvar doesn't have a dance partner up front. The fact that Venom Motorsports pair have brought the back of Tommy. One thing we haven't talked about is class leaders. Haven't really had much of a chance because there's been so much fighting going on. Still is. Oh, that's side by side. Blair Mann, Luca Elgato. Oh, there's me saying, are you not likely to make a pass down there? That's at the end of the Corvette goes. Oh, dear God.
Going through karting is not a place where you normally see two same class cars battling. Sometimes you'll see lapping through there, but well held from the Porsche. But as they go through Maison Blanche,
wow,
Blair Mann just takes the position before they hit the 4 chicanes.
That's determined.
Lutus just had a spin right there in the curves. I think his tires are dead.
Yeah, it's
wrong with that car.
Boyle tyres on the BMW. That was Daniele Mamano, who probably got a bit of a scare seeing a BMW sideways. Pinsker is starting to break away from his dance partner a little bit. Maybe he's fallen out with Martin Neidlich a little. There, you just see at the bottom of the shot is Rainer Talvar, so that's what 5.2 seconds is like in these things. Oh, Pontecorvi and Jamie Smith very close together. There's so many people that are. Anyway, we were talking about class leaders. So Rainer Talvar obviously leading the way in the pro category. Up front, leads by 5.3 seconds over James Pinsker, with Martin Neidlich running at the podium 3. Dan Alpol leads the way in the Pro-Ams in the Porsche. He's been chased by, well, that's immediately by R10 van Putten, who's not in the Pro-Am class. Second is Tom Hooper, who's got the Venom Motorsports BMW. Oh, John, that got very quickly for you. And third in the Pro-Ams is Roberti Edouard, so they're quite spread out as far as inter-class battling is concerned. Leading the AMs, that was Merlin Cooper swapping positions with Thomas Lagny. He's got Blair Mann right behind him. That's a very awkward position for Merlin Cooper to be in.
Lagny, I think, just got a slowdown because he cut the final corner in the first chicane and is having to give up a little bit of time there. So that has made a complete swap of everybody. Blair Mann's gone to the front, Lagny's gone to the back, and Cooper stayed in the middle.
Merlin Cooper taking full opportunity of the slipstream. Let's just hope he doesn't do what the Raptor 4 did a couple of laps ago and send the Blair Mann sailing off now. Of course he doesn't. So,
there goes the umpteenth cone of the race.
Yeah.
Off into the distance.
Those mighty cone death.
Hashtag save the cones.
Yes, let's save the codes. Luca Lodato second in the AM class. Is he a second? Not even that. Oh, trouble! Jamie Smith! Who's he having it? That's Stephen Brumfield that he's side by side with, and he's just run out of traction. But he's done brilliantly well to save that and not take anyone else with him. So fair play, Jamie Smith. That's ruined your race and your tyres, but that was very well handled. Excellent job there. So Merlin Cooper, as we said, leads the way in the AMs. Oh, correct, he's still got side by sides going on. That's Thomas Lagney, and now Luca Lodato wants to get involved in trying to pass the BMW to take the class lead. Now they're going to have to sort this out before they get down to Indianapolis. Don't make that 3 wide. Do not make that 3 wide. Let's get on the chopper again, because they have sorted that one out. Whoa! Marco Mariani slams into the back of fellow router racer Luca Lodato there. That was very close between the Ford and the Porsche. Goodness me. But still, Merlin Cooper just about leads the way in the AM class, but he's got a lot of pressure from Luca, and then quite a way back is Daniele Mamano in the next AM class. That's about 9 seconds down the road before the next AM category driver is found. And then still Pinsker and Nadley continuing their dance, and the 2x2 pairing is still broadly intact. I say it's actually the Venom pair that, because they've got an added bonus of Tom Hooper, who's now behind the Venom BMWs. John still leading Michael. They work their way through the final turns. Still bouncing off of the apex quite hard. There's another 3. Thomas Lagney with Merlin Cooper and Luca Lodato. Oh, that AM battle is really, really... Oh, that's someone coming in the pits. I thought that was someone going horribly wrong. It's Luca Lodato coming into the pits. Tad early, do you think?
It's about a lap early, but I mean, the lap is a lot of fuel here, so that's why it seems quite early. But no, in fact, that's about on schedule. I don't think you can really get 8 laps out of it. I think you can barely get 7. So if you can try and save a whole nother lap around here, that's good job.
Be hard. That's got to be very, very difficult.
So I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it's somewhere around 7 laps. It might be 8 laps possible, but it'll be somewhere soon.
Yeah, it's possible to save a lap, or maybe even 1.5 if you're really a lap.
Sorry to cut you off, gents. Michael Mariani, you got that all wrong. Coming through the first, coming through the Dunlop curve, then coming into the chicane, big tank slapper, and you kind of hit the wall rather square on there. Does that cause any significant damage to the Ford, do you think?
I'm just watching to see. Ooh, that is a big smash, but I don't visually see anything.
No, that's what I was thinking. Oh, trouble! That's Jamie Smith again. Oh no, what's he done? Oh wow!
I think Michael got away with that.
Jamie
I
Smith
don't think
got
Jamie has.
No, that Jamie Smith definitely didn't. He got absolutely spat out by the curb there as the Venom pair have swapped round again. Michael now leads Jamie, but Andy Gorton is right on the tail of Alex Bennett. The more these two continue to dance, they are 8 seconds behind the pairing of Pinsker and Nadley for second. Is it still, are people just still relying on Slipstream Fest, do we think? Or...
I think up front they are a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like if you wanted to pass, you could have by now, or at least given it a go. But interestingly, this 4th and 5th battle is technically for second place in the Pro Championship. Bennett is just ahead of Gorton, which is a weird thing to say after the early season form from Gorton. But Bennett's had a reliable season. Actually, they're going to go side by side down towards Indianapolis. Gorton's just going to have the slight edge on it, and I think Bennett used that to decide whether he'd give it up or not, and he does.
He does indeed. Porsche slots in behind the Ford, and that is 4th position to Andy Gorton. Someone pointing out that the back end of the Team Temple Fords does indeed look like the Angry Birds pig. Go back a few broadcasts for the proper reference of me completely missing the fact that the Ford looks like the Angry Birds pig.
And you missed it,
for a whole broadcast. Yes.
No. Broadcast.
I knew. I picked it up on the second one. It was one. I will fight you.
I know you will, but I say, I'm telling the truth. It took you quite a while.
It did. It took me an unbelievably long time to suss that one out. We've lost Luca Lodato, sadly. He pulled into the pits and retired his car. That was a shame.
Luca hasn't manually disconnected. He has had some sort of technical issue. It has not been an actual quit from his part.
Yeah.
Bender just kidding.
Yep, top three have pitted. Talvar, Pinsker and Nadleek have come in, but Andy Gordon has not. Bennett's in. Holstein isn't, as isn't.
Yeah, Luca did come out of the pits, by the way.
Oh.
But he then just disappeared and has had some sort of technical issue.
Big stream of cars coming into the pits at the same time. So Alpol, Van Putten, Edens, Halliwell and Hooper have all come into the pits. Here comes... Oh, no, that's not how you deal with the pit lane entry, Mr. Mann. Blair Mann getting a little bit eager on the right foot.
We have got some people continuing on, though.
We do, interestingly. And not all forwards, as I was expecting.
Ooh, Mariani was all the way off on the way into the pits.
Determined.
Almost on the back to the track.
Oh, wow. Diallo asking, am I leaving? Yes, I'm leaving this particular league. This is my final broadcast of the... Oh, no, Victor Matios. We'll come back to that particular statement in a minute. Victor Matios has had a problem. He's just spun in front of James Pinsker and Martin Nadleek.
He's actually been hit.
He did. He got tagged by the Tepper Ford. Oh, it was Reese Newland and Christoph Holstein are having a bit of an argument. Whoa, Reese, that was close. Very, very close to the wall there. But
Pinsker will not be happy about what's just happened there.
Did Pinsker pick up damage on that?
Well, he did. I don't know whether it repaired itself by a desync, but I think he has gotten away. Okay, I think he's gotten away with it. I think he got damage, and it somehow managed to iRacing magic repair itself.
Because he's got no incident points either.
Yeah, that's been a iRacing have decided that James is going to be a lucky man today and get away with that. But if he had got damage, he would be very angry. I think under the cockpit because obviously when you've got people that you aren't racing with that have incidents in front of you, that it's one of those ones that can slightly annoy a driver. But he seems to be okay.
Oh, here comes Holstein on Newland again. As a reminder, neither of the top three. Well, actually, there's 5. No, Newland remained ahead of Holstein, but they were side by side coming into that Mulsanne turn. So Gorton, Newland, Holstein, Merlin Cooper and Victor Matios have not seen the pit lane yet. Jamie Smith still in the pit lane, but he has had quite a few adventures.
We're going on to this lap. Newland, Holstein were in front of Newland. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's at the beginning of the lap. That is very true. It's Holstein. Oh, is Holstein looking again? No, he's just making himself very, very clear in the Ford's mirrors. But to come back to the point I was making to Diallo's question, this will be my final GTE broadcast, as I no longer have, sadly, the free time to do the Monday streams. It's a bit of a shame, but sadly real life gets in the way of me. Oh, that's Andreas Lutus and Michael Mariani swapping around for 18th position. Oh, the Ford is so close to the BMW. That's already caught you out once, Mr. Mariani. And Santo and Pontecorvi are side by side. Whoa, that's too quick into there, Mr. Pontecorvi.
That should definitely slow down.
Oh yes, that's going to bite you. Yeah.
And Sarah, I think, might be getting a place here for free.
Could well be.
Maybe. The slowdowns around here are usually quite extreme. You can really lose, and if you do it, especially on the first couple of laps, you can just, oh my god, you can lose so much time.
Oh yeah.
I remember a race I went from P19 to P42 or something like that on.
Oh, has Merlin Cooper run out of fuel?
What?
Merlin Cooper has run out of fuel.
Where is he?
He's currently 7th, and he is stuttering. He is not going to make it from there. Merlin Cooper has... Or is he?
He could just... Is this going to be a Hamish Sopwith
Hamish
situation?
never made it, though. He was so
Hamish
close.
pulled off about here.
Yeah.
Hamish stopped about here, I seem to remember. I
did,
remember
yeah.
coming past his ghost car every lap because Project Cars decided that because he retired there, he'd get a ghost car which frightens the living daylights out of you every single lap you come past it.
Well, Merlin is still going.
He's above pit speed actually at the moment. So
Oh.
okay, he's into pit speed.
Yeah, now
He
just
best hope.
needs
He best hope
only-
it's-
It's now a coast. He's probably
Yeah.
if he's got a clutch pedal, he's using it.
his engine is stalled. He best hope that
No.
pit. He best hope his box is pretty quick. I
mean,
I
He
know.
qualified probably mid-order, so
Oh,
here it
Is
is.
Is he going to do
He
it?
did
Coming
it.
up. There
He
we
did
go.
it! Well done, Merlin Cooper. Oh, goodness me. Right.
That was not the fastest strategy.
As we jump...
Neither league has gone fast.
Yeah, so we just jump back up to that. Martin Nadling has just jumped past James Pinsker for second position. That's Andy Gorton right on his case as well. So James has had a problem at the first chicane. And what's going on? Oh, Merlin Cooper is now getting back underway with...
Pinsker, I think, had a slowdown in petrol room is what caused the swapping of position.
And Nadling was really deep coming into that first chicane. But he's back underway again. But goodness me.
And they've now they've now also got themselves an Andy Gorton for company.
They do. Rainer Talbot.
I think they've got the patented Andy Gorton underfuel.
Yeah. Yeah, by a good 4 seconds as well.
So that's why he's closed up so much for people that are a bit confused as to how he's managed to close that gap.
Yeah, I was actually about to say, wasn't Bennett a lot closer? But yeah, that.
Yeah. It's the patented Andy Gorton underfuel.
Yeah. He's done that many times now. But he needs to make it work. He really needs to be on the front of this particular pack if he wants to make that particular strategy work to his advantage. But James Pinsker not really willing to let him go. Oh, Mamano and Dove very close. Oh, and that's James Thomas Santo.
Oh, and
Nadling
just gone off into the gravel in Mulsanne Corner, so he's now at the back of that train.
Oh, he
And
just
he
could
was
not
quite
slow
on
that
that.
down.
So Gorton might get his wish. He might get to the front of this train and can start pulling away.
Oh, he's thinking about it. He's He's going to make the move. Jumps
Such a
out.
hard corner. He just pulls out of the such. I mean, loses so much position. So he's not going to be able to make a move into Indianapolis.
No.
And in fact, Pinsker seems to pull away a little bit.
Looking back from Sarah Dove in 20th position. That's Thomas Santo, Alessandro Pontecorvi, and Daniele Milano having a hell of a battle behind her.
We've lost Jamie Smith.
Oh, gee. He's been in the pits for over 6 minutes, but he has opted to call it a day. What's going on with Michael Mariani? Oh, he's having an argument with Andreas Lutus.
Lutus is going ultra defensive, I believe, is the technical description for how far that is. I think there's just a steel wall put up between them is with the inside line down there.
Sorry to cut you off there, James. Daniele Mamano. Oh, a little bit too wide coming into the Mulsanne turn. And round he went. He had to be very careful about how he rejoins. So that's Chris Yardley in the white
He's headed more for the roundabout there than for the actual corner. Off to the left is a roundabout in non-racing situations, and he's actually facing the golf course. Perhaps that's what he was aiming for. Funny enough, the first King-Kodiak straight is actually called the golf curve, I think, and it's just because there's a golf course there.
Yeah, Matt's just gone past Roberto Abad. There's now the recovering Blairman up into 13th position. What's gone on with Holstein? He's in the pits. Is that the second time? It is. That's the second time he's been in.
That's the second time he's...
Because he pitted a lap later than everybody else. He's just coming again.
What has happened here, Mr. Holstein? Have you got a penalty of some kind?
That might actually, yeah, if he has gone a bit too fast into the pits.
Well, if it's on pit entry, it would have been served during his pit stop. Oh, he's just selected reverse gear. That's never a good
Oh
sign.
dear.
But he's not reversing, so that's odd. But if the only thing I could think of is he's released his pit limiter too early and sped post the pit stop.
Oh, Reese Newland. The Shazoo Ford. Oh my goodness, that went very horribly wrong. Let's just watch that again.
tried to catch it, and
Oh, he touched the grass on the way to Tet Rouge. And that's a date with the wall, and that is going to hurt. Holstein! Has he not moved? He still hasn't moved. Why is he not moved?
there he is. How long was that?
That was...
44 seconds.
Where is it? I've lost him. Yeah, 44 seconds stationary.
That is very likely to be a stop-go for speeding, which means he must have released his pit limiter too late.
Too early.
Or too early, yes.
Yeah.
Even, yes. Too late would be too safe.
Indeed.
I'm just going to check his pit exit.
Andy Gorton continued to chase James Pinsker for second position.
Yes. Holstein didn't have his pit limiter activated when he pulled away from his pit stall and went up to 90 kilometers an hour before slamming on the brakes again and
Oh
realizing.
dear.
Oh.
Because he was trying the strategy of not using a pit limiter to go a little bit faster in the pit lane, which you can do.
Trouble again. That's Michael Mariani. Oh, that's Andreas Lutus that he's bounced off of. Oh dear, oh dear.
They have had quite, a battle here the last lap. Ooh,
Oh,
that's 5.5.
Yeah, that was a I've missed my braking point and there's a car there. Panic.
Goodness me. That was never ever gonna be a path.
Pinsker and Gorton so close once again, but Andy's backed off. He doesn't fancy trying to go side by side through Indianapolis. There in the background you can see Martin Nadley. He's losing time against these two, despite the fact that these two are fighting very, very hard.
If you have, well, it's kind of wish, but if you have the balls to do it, you can actually lift off a bit before the Indy King and actually try and go on the outside and pass into Indianapolis itself. It can be done, but you really need to set it up right.
That's another pit stop for Mikko Pari as well. So we've had several people come through the pits twice. Christoph Holstein, Raimo Kudi, Mikko Pari, so both of the cruising missiles BMWs, and Luca Lodato.
I think Pari has taken repairs. He has had a 126 seconds pit stop, and he had quite a bit of damage, didn't he?
He did. As Andy Gorton still continuing to hassle James Pinsker. They come into the final few turns. Is Nadey just kind of biding his time and waiting for the two Fords to kill each other, or do you think he's struggling to keep up with them now?
Well, he's gained a little bit as they've gone through the twisty section. He was 1.8 behind. He's now around 1.6 behind as they come across the start-finish line. So, I think he is still pushing to try and keep with them. I mean, obviously, you don't really want to fall too far behind. He's out of the slipstream range, and slipstream is very useful here. And he's actually gone quite deep there into the first chicane. You can cut it a lot more than you would think. So, yeah, he's losing quite a bit there as well. He's lost about 3/10 just through that one section of corners.
Oops! That's an
And
unusual
there he goes.
Boiled tyres, do we think?
Perhaps, but from what I've noticed this week, the Ferrari seems to get a little bit quicker as it goes through the pit stop because the tyres start to cool down, obviously, as you're in the box, but maybe the shorter refuel in here rather than the ILMS official races means that the tyres are still quite hot and have just overheated slightly.
Gentlemen, can I bring your attention to who's just joined us in the chat? There's a name we haven't seen for a while.
Who?
Hello, Mr. Nick Meadow.
Oh. Why is he not racing anymore?
Well, that's a fair question, Mr.
Yeah.
Katie Bear. Your partner in crime is sadly down in 25th. The former partner in crime, of course. Let's have a look at where people are then. Reynolds Halvar continuing to lead the way now by nearly 14 seconds from the top of the field. Pinsker still having a dance with Andy Gorton for second place, but now up into fourth is Alex Bennett, the lead Porsche on the field. And very much on his own as he leads Martin Nadic by 5.5 seconds. And Dan Alpol, the lead Pro-Am driver, is also quite on his own as Arjen van Putten is 5 seconds behind him. Mike Leedens and the Venom pair have been inseparable all race long.
It's incredible.
Ooh, bouncing over the curves of the chicane. Tom Hooper in 10th position, second in the Pro-Ams. And straight down the road is Reece Newland. Shazoo very much on his own. 6.3 seconds further down the road is Blair Mann, who had trouble in the opening laps and has been recovering ever since. Now back up into 12th place, being chased by Roberti Edouard. There he is in the Porsche at the bottom of the shot. Thomas Lagney is 11.5 seconds behind Edouard, and 5.5 seconds ahead of Andres Lutis. The tail end of the field fairly spread out. It was taken till now for them to be spread out. Nearly half the race is gone. Stephen Brunfield is in 16th. There's Mariani and Victor Matias for 17th, 18th. Behind them is Thomas Santo in the Porsche. Then Sarah Dove in 20th. In the Ford, Pontecorvi in 21st. Chris Yardley in the grinning Ford in 22nd position. Merlin Cooper in 23rd. And then Romano, you just saw behind him, actually being caught by Christoph Holstein, doing what he can to try and recover the time. Raimo Kudi in the pits again? Goodness me, this race has gone from bad to disastrous for the cruising missile BMW. Stefan Kamke is in there in 26th position. At 10 in the third is Luca Dodato and Michael Pari. 29 cars remain unless we lose Raimo Kudi from the race. Having been into the pits for a third time. I thought James Winsker was coming in again, but I always get that. Despite the amount of times I've commentated on Le Mans, it still catches me out, the people that use that pit lane entrance just to extend the angle that they come into the first part of the four chicanes. It still catches me out.
I mean, it's one of those ones where after having lapped so many cars, you have to kind of get used to it, because otherwise if you think they're pitting and then you run into the back of them because they weren't pitting, you're going to get in a bit of trouble for that.
Just a tad.
Yeah, and I will say when I drive it, I don't tend to do that, actually. You know, go out there, don't really find myself finding any time in doing it.
I see a lot of people do it, and it catches me out on each occasion.
Yeah.
Well, Raimo Kudi is back on track again. He was only in the pits for 18 seconds that time.
But now, you know, I drive mostly prototypes. I think it may be more a GT thing. I don't know. Do you do that?
I mean, everyone I've raced against all week has been doing that in the P1 field, so I mean, yeah, it's one of those ones where you feel a bit of a jolt as you go over the curb, but the amount of, because you can abuse those first couple of apexes and the limits about it.
Mariani, yeah, he's had trouble in those Where on earth has he gone? I thought he was coming in the pits, because at the point we caught him, he wasn't coming towards the pit lane entrance, but he's actually lost that on the final part of the Forge game.
Yeah.
Just landed wrong, got a bit unsettled, and when two wheels aren't on the ground, you don't have as much grip as you normally would.
Simple physics.
That chicane is actually one of the points where the DT is actually faster than the P1s.
Because of how much they can use the curbs.
Yeah.
That final curb especially, in a prototype, because you run so low, there is no chance in any world, in any way, that you're going to be able to take that big red sausage curb. So you have to basically avoid it like it's the plague, whereas GTEs can just go over it, especially Ferraris can just launch over it like it's nothing.
But interestingly, when I was commentating a qualifying event at Le Mans, there were quite a few LMP2s in particular that were really flirting with that sausage curb. Yeah.
You want to get as close as you can before you start launching yourself, but I'll still try and maybe touch it with my front right, but I do not want my floor going anywhere near it.
Yeah, I tend to just really stay off it, as Gordon is super close to Penske. But it just seems like he's, you know, I think he's staying behind here, and then he might be able to,
He's doing it intentionally, isn't he?
Because he knows that he needs to fuel a bit more than Penske in the next pit stop. So the more he can save now, the less that gap will actually be. Because I don't think that he can drive away from Penske.
Could be. Could well be. Oh, that's Mariani and Alessandro Pontecorvi. No, it isn't. That's Stephen Brumfield. Beg your pardon. Or is it? No, it was right. It is Pontecorvi. I beg your pardon. It's more. There's a lot of Raptors out there. At least I got the team right. That Broomfield and Pontecorvi are Raptor Team Yellow. So no, that is actually a battle for 20th position. Inverted commas, as Pontecorvi is in the AM class. And Mariani.
Probably going very deep into Mulsanne corner, which is going to affect his exit as they head on towards the run, towards Golf Curve, as I pointed out, and then maybe more importantly Indianapolis. But Mariani would have the slipstream, gets a bit of a run as he's got the inside line for the first part of Indianapolis, but he's going to have to try and edge a bit closer. Obviously these are technically teammates, just not direct teammates, but same organisation, so which one of them will yield? And it looks like it might just be Pontecorvi, and Mariani gets a bit unstable though as they head towards the left, but he keeps the position. But he gets on the gravel, which means that Pontecorvi might have a way back into it, and Chris Yardley might be licking his lips at this battle now as well as they go through Arnage corner. Mariani goes deep again, which means that Pontecorvi will get the run and should be back in front as they head towards Porsche.
Yeah, Chris Yardley, the gridding forward, is a great camera car for this battle. And right ahead, you can see that is Sarah Dove. You can just about see the silhouette of. Oh, don't go side by side into the Porsche curves. And there's the Ford that goes ahead. The BMW slides through the first part of that turn. What is Yardley going to do? Is he going to try and wait for them to resolve themselves, or is he going to try and muscle his way through?
We'll have to wait and see. It will be an adventure book of surprises to see how this might play out, because they all look pretty racy. I think they've tried to orchestrate it that Mariani's in front, but because there was no real reason for Pontecorvi to let him go. He had the inside line into Porsche, but he let Mariani be in front. I guess he thinks he's quicker, but obviously Mariani did have that spin, so perhaps that is why they think that. They have an interesting way of showing it, at least, because they did go side by side down the straight.
Very, very true. Although go on.
No, that's just how you do it, no. If you go side by side, nobody behind you can go past.
That is true.
True, but also know your drivers get advantage of slipstream and fuel saving.
No, but nobody behind can go past.
That's all that matters. There's no overtaking. You shall not pass.
We have witnessed some inter-team rivalries, to be fair, this week. The main one is Beeler Racing versus Williams Esports has been quite confrontational this week. There have been many incidents between them. I'll leave it at that for the wider iRacing community to imagine. And I think Pontecorvi might have just got to slow down. He's pulling off to the right, and he's lifting off. He's got to slow down because he extended Tetra Rouge just that tiny bit too far. It's a really odd one, because there is a limit at Tetra Rouge, but it's not the white line. It's very far beyond that. But you know where the limit is, but you have to go out and find it. But there's no visual cue to what it is properly.
The limit is that you have to be back within the white line before the curve stops.
Blairman's got another one. Blairman now up to 11th on his ever-long recovery drive. He's got 7.5 seconds before he closes into Tom Hooper, and another 3.5 before he finds Michael Edens, who's now the trailing Venom car. Although they are gaining on, there he is, Arjen van Putten. They did gain, or have been gaining slowly but surely, on the Comrade BMW. So they've been actually using that slipstream to its desired effect. Oh, that was a little tad wide there from Arjen. And still Pinsker and Gorton continue their dance. There's no reason you would have a... I've only just noticed the caption on the rear wing, spin or concede. You wouldn't have... This has got to be a low downforce circuit by on it. Oh, James, that's not a great run. That did not look like a great line coming through the last turns. And Andy's in the pits.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be the lack of fuel. That's just reminded me actually of Sylvain Moraine. Was it last season or the season before, where he was up in second position and had to pit for extra fuel because he would have run out otherwise on the last lap, because he went for such an undercut in the first stop that he physically couldn't put enough fuel in the next two stops to make it to the end.
And I do believe you said there is not a chance that car is making it when he pitted. I don't remember. I don't exactly remember, but I remember finding out post race. I don't think I've actually mentioned it since. I don't think we've been to Le Mans since, but that happened, and yeah,
Andy sometimes has to be a bit careful with these kind of strategies, and that's why, because if you don't put enough fuel in some of the stops, then you're not going to be able to make it to the end in the final one. But he should be fine, I think.
The saving fuel car, like just keeping behind Pins.
It's going to be very close, to be fair, because the race is estimated to be 20.6 laps, which is 21 laps, so Gorton's going to have to go 8 to get it to the end.
But also remember that didn't Andy Gorton short fuel on the last one?
Yeah, but he only short fuel technically by 1 lap.
Whoa, Mariani!
Oh, into the wall. That's a forefront that is completely and utter destroyed.
Yeah.
He just lost the rear.
Ouch.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
into the concrete wall.
Yeah.
If you weren't pitting before, you certainly are now.
Corvette curve has seen many instances over the years. It's such a high-speed corner, but it's normally to do with lap traffic through there that you see incidents. Obviously, there was none of that involved here, but GTE cars and grass and high speed don't tend to mix.
Yeah, there's Van Putten. He has been there.
Done almost the same.
He has gone at the first chicane on the Mulsanne, just into hot, too much curb. The car's got unsettled, and round she goes.
Thank you very much, say the Venom Motorsports pair, as they go through into 6th and 7th respectively, with John leading the way for those two. Oh, I thought Michael was having a spin there, but no, he wasn't. As Mariani brings his car to rest. 28 runners remain. We've lost Philip Schiff, Jamie Smith and Miko Pari from this race. And with that big old accident that Michael Mariani has had, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to call it a day, or he's at least in the pits for a very long time, as that looked like another cone going flying from the Venom pair. 17 and a half seconds lead now for Rainer Talvar.
He's just out for a Sunday drive, apart from the fact it's Monday, not Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just out there having fun.
When you just get the setup right, and when the car and driver and track just sings, it's just nothing stopping you. And if you look, he's now into the Porsche Curves, now into the Corvette. It's just that car is just so planted through there, and he just has so much trust in it.
I was just waiting for the tail to let go at the exact point you said those words. I was just waiting for that. And in comes...
Rainer has just been a bit of a cheeky boy there. He's just run a bit wide into Corvette curve, which would have given him a slowdown. But because he's pitting, he's slowed down for the pit lane, which has served his slowdown penalty. That is a cheeky manoeuvre that I've used in the past, definitely. I won't lie about that. But,
what has happened to Andy Gorton? Why is he now down in 11th?
Because he pitted.
Yeah, he pitted.
Oh, yeah, he did, yes. Big button. Completely forgot. Getting caught up in everything. In comes Bennett, in comes Nadleek. Here we go. Everybody coming in. Dan, Pro-Am leader, in he comes. And what about the Venom pair? Are they coming in as well? I can't remember if they extended another lap. Nope, in they come.
I think the only person that is coming up soon is Reece Newlands, and he might continue on.
Oh,
then we will have to wait for Victor Matios.
Oh no, Blair Man's coming in. That's a back marker that's continuing on. That's Raimo Cooley. Of course, he's been in the pits 3 times already, so he probably doesn't need to come in just yet.
Newland went 8 laps on his first stint, but then has only won 6 on his second, so that's slightly odd.
Well, he did have kind of a meeting with the wall.
Yeah, I just don't expect your fuel used to go down that much. Slightly odd.
That might be a case of everybody else is pitting. I'm just pitting now.
Might as well do it, yeah. Magley's in.
As it looks.
But like I said with Gorton, it's going to be very close to whether he makes it to the end, because he's probably going to go 21 laps, and he pitted on lap 13, so he's going to need an 8-lap stint to get to the end.
Well.
Could do a Sylvain Moreno that I talked about, be in second position, have everything running smoothly. I mean, he's currently in third behind Pinsker, but have everything running smoothly, and then run out of fuel and have to box on the final lap.
Very true. But then, who was it that ran out of fuel early? Was it Merlin?
It was, I believe, Merlin.
Yeah, it was. And
because he was trying to go the 8th lap on his stint.
BMW was not forgiving.
But this is a track where, if you really wanna fuel save, you can really fuel save.
It will cost you time for doing it, but yes, you can.
Well, you say that. I have alluded to this before. We have our fuel saving god in our team who decided that he was gonna fuel save and extend the stint by 2 laps because we were close to being able. We were like able to go like 10.7 or something like that. So 1.3 laps he extended it with. And in that time, he also posted the fastest lap.
Wow.
While fuel saving. Yeah.
Okay. We've lost another.
Because
unfortunately, we have lost the 127 Ford of Rhys Newlands. The Shazoo Ford has gone.
I think there was just too much damage on that car.
I think he saw the repairs when he pulled into his box and went, nope, I'm not doing it.
With 22 minutes to go until the checkered flag falls. Well, fair enough. Michael Mariani is still in there. He's been in the box for 5 minutes now. Still getting his repairs. Nigel Van Putten and Christoph Holstein, the Comrade Gaming pair. Still pretty close together. Christoph now back up to 14th position from his earlier indiscretions.
But he's a pit stop, behind the other guys.
Who is?
Holstein. He needs to pit again.
He pitted on lap.
Yeah,
well, he pitted on lap 8.
He did,
and then took his penalty on lap 9. So he might have put more fuel in that penalty stop.
But he won't go to the end, though, will he?
No, he won't. He will not be able to get anywhere near the end. So he will probably be boxing either this lap or next.
He wouldn't have been able to put in fuel on that, otherwise it would have taken him a lot longer. It adds, is it 20 seconds?
Well, he said he was stationary for 44.
Yeah.
And the penalty would have been 40, so 4 seconds of fuel for the lap he spent after he boxed.
Yeah. No, because if he adds anything while he has a penalty, it adds a bit more time onto the penalty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He added 4 seconds onto his penalty for refueling.
No, as in if you have, if you get a drive-through, let's say you get a drive-through, and you don't take windscreen off and fuel and tires, you will get a 20-second stop-go penalty instead. So it will add time to that penalty.
Yeah, but he didn't get a drive-through. He got a 40-second stop-go.
Yeah, but I'm
we are assuming
drive-throughs don't come. Drive-throughs don't come until next lap. Next build even, sorry. Drive-throughs aren't in iRacing until next build.
Next lap,
So-
that would be an interesting addition mid-race.
That would be it. Yeah, sorry, no. Next build is when drive-throughs are coming into iRacing. But yeah, what I'm saying is that Holstein got his 42nd for speeding, and then took the fuel that he'd spent doing that lap between getting the penalty and coming back into the pits. So he's essentially pitted on lap 9 for fuel.
Either way, he'll have to come in again.
Yes.
You will have to come in again.
And that's Sarah Dove exploring a lot of track limits in front of Christoph Holstein. I think she's pitting this lap because otherwise there'd be no reason to take that much slowdown.
Yeah, well, she caught the 8.
Wait, that's a lock-up. Brakes a bit too late because she had too much speed because she took that slowdown.
Let's see what she did.
That's instant karma for abusing the track limits.
Oh, yeah, that didn't go well.
Actually, I don't think she meant to take the slowdown. She caught the grass on the inside, like I believe it was Mariani that did in Corvette Curve, but had the slowdown and was going to box anyway, so just went and took it. It just went and continued.
And then when it just comes into the pit, you just hear that amazing weird noise of the Ford.
Is that the gearbox compressor noise?
No. It's just
If you're going to tell me the engine is an amazing noise, shush. I can mute you.
Can we mute the Ford instead?
I will miss that banter.
Well, if you do that, could you mute the Ferrari as well?
No!
Listen to it.
Gladly, happily.
Go to Talva as he just destroys.
He's on his own. He's 20 seconds in the lead. I'm currently looking at Tom Hooper. It's got Blair Mann closing in on him.
Well, then you can't hear the car.
I can't hear the Ferrari, no, because all I can hear is BMW, which is another glorious noise.
I will give you that.
Well,
They should turn that one up.
Sarah's in the pit a long time. She's been stationary for a minute, and now just... Wow, that was a very, very long stop.
She might have had the slight issue of, because she locked up and went through the gravel trap like Mr. Woodford did last season, she might have got a unsafe pit entrance penalty like Mr. Woodford did.
Oh dear.
And that's another 26 seconds, I believe. It might be 40 seconds, actually, on top of your pit stop.
I think, yeah.
It's one of those two numbers, which is probably 40, because that would make more sense with the amount of time she was stationary.
Yeah.
And just... There is the noise of the Ferrari. Not that Nick can hear what I'm listening to, obviously, but...
I'm already listening to the Ferrari, and it's better than the Ford.
No question.
It's not the best sounding car here.
It's not the best sounding car.
That wasn't the issue at hand, sir.
For me,
I would much rather listen to the Ferrari than the Ford any day of the week.
Mr. Clay speaks truth. He speaks
Especially
wisdom.
now they've added the Ford's gearbox compressor noise, which is actually the worst thing. It's just a... It's like Squidward from SpongeBob.
Oh, sorry to break up the conversation, but Blair Mann was forced onto the grass. He's trying to make his way past Tom Hooper, and Tom is having none of it. The second place man of the Pro-Ams. I doubt Blair's going to be very happy about that. Forces away the inside. Well, Tom Hooper's not technically doing anything wrong. He is perfectly entitled.
That right there, the last one he did, that was too much.
Oh, as far as defensive powers is concerned, yes. What I was meaning was he's perfectly entitled to defend against Blair Mann, even though they're not in the same category. With Tom being Pro-Am, Blair being Pro, there's nothing. Oh wow, that was close. There's nothing in the rules to say he can't do it. Whether it's beneficial to him, yeah, well, that we always talk about. It was always a debating point, but yeah, I mean that was exceedingly.
It's one of those issues that comes with this particular straight in motorsport, because it's not a straight. There's kinks in the middle of it, and obviously, you want to take the apex of those kinks. So I think Hooper. Actually, no, I can see what it is. It's the fact that there's a slight issue on iRacing where the crown in the middle of the road makes the GTE cars go faster on the straights. That sounds ridiculous, but it does actually do a thing like that where it makes the cars faster on the straights, and he's gone to retake that sort of white line or even the outside line to defend after that kink, and it's just thrown Blair off a little bit. So,
but what he did at Anash were too much, way too much. As he just pushed Blair Mann completely off, and they actually had contact. So at that time, he didn't leave. Always leave the room. Always leave the space.
Always leave the space. Yes, Christoph Holstein has brought his car into the pits for, assumedly, the final time.
Yeah.
As we look at the Venom Motorsports pairs, still remaining half a second apart. That's Michael, now the lead pair of the BMWs, is 9 seconds behind Dan Alpol, who is our Pro-Am leader. Again, particular shout out to Dan Alpol. He's had a cracking race.
I think Blair Mann is going to get Hooper here down to the first chicane. Hooper decided to stay in the middle of the track again, and
wow, that was a very big statement of intent from Blair. I don't think he's a happy man. The air in that car is blue, very much like and he's sliding around the exit of that chicane. I don't think Blair Mann's a very happy driver at the moment.
No. But the question is if Hooper actually cares, and maybe.
Well, there is that.
Maybe closing back in as they head towards the second chicane. And there was side-by-side action from the Venom pairs in front, but I think they're just doing slipstream trains off each other.
Yeah. It did look like for us. I thought Sir Tom was going to go for that. Oh, and Roberti Rod and Arjen van Putten. Again, same situation. The Pro-Am ahead of the Pro. And they're swapping positions, although that battle's not gone on as long, I don't think. There's Blair and Tom. Tom's hanging on in there. I mean, there's 5.5 seconds between Blair and John Halliwell. And what's going on with Chris Yardley? Oh, that's a laggy Thomas Santo as the grinning Ford has made his way past the Porsche. Where is our Venom Motorsports player? There they are. So, there he's behind them is Blair Mann and Tom Hooper. We've got 13.5 minutes to go. Let's have a look. Last lap. There's only 3/10 in it, Blair Mann's favour, but I think that's probably because he's fending off the rather troublesome Team Tepper BMW. Do you think Blair can close in on the Venom pair?
I'm just going to check the lap times more than anything, because that normally is a good indication as to how fast, well, how much of a chance he has.
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a stretch. I think, because as long as Hallowell and Edens are just gonna keep on getting slipstream. A thing that slipstream also gives you if you do it right is, as you do in NASCAR, where you can actually get two drivers getting a bit faster. So if you work together and not battle each other, you can actually go a little bit faster. As we have the corners and stuff like that, I know it's not as effective. But
Blair getting very squiggly through Porsche though, so I don't think he's really got much chance.
No,
Lutus and Brumfield as well having their own argument for 14th position.
he needs, be quite fast at the moment.
Oh, and into the pits for what I believe is the 4th time is Raimo Cooling. I admire his determination to see the race through. Oh, wow, Mr. Edens! That's very deep off of the final turn. He's actually giving himself an 8/10 gap between himself and John Halliwell, but John can probably close that back in. That's what Blair's going to do. This, the interesting thing, Blair gained 9/10 of a second off the back of John Halliwell last time about. He was 4.6 behind. He might... I don't know. There's only about 3-ish laps to go. 4 laps to go. It could be close.
But he needs to take that amount of time out of them
every lap.
Yeah.
Oh, Thomas Santo and Chris Albi in front round again. The orange mechanic Porsche ahead of the green.
And it's very close behind Gorton as well. Gorton was a second in front before they came into the straight. He's definitely going to have to save some fuel then, because he needs 8 laps out of a tank, and that is definitely a difficult task to manage. And what is Bennett doing?
I do not know.
You're going 260 kilometers an hour on the straights. Why are you lifting to stay behind him, sir?
He would have known he was that far before the chicane.
Like, what? Bennett is literally going 260 k's down the straights to stay behind him. Why?
Do you think Alex is in fuel trouble?
Alex shouldn't be in fuel trouble. I mean, I know he's had a bit of a leaky tank before in previous seasons, but not to the extent where he needs to be doing this. He should be safe on fuel till the end by a long shot. So,
Venom pair spot round again. John Halliwell now leads that particular train. I think Alex was more than likely just caught out by how early.
But he's doing it on the next straight again as well. Like, I know it's weird to say, but they're almost 30 k's down on the straight as they're going towards those corners on the north side.
They're going to have Martin Nablik with them very soon.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
There you go.
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Bennett.
Absolutely.
Finally overtakes him. It's one of those ones, because like, I know people like to lift and coast and fuel save, but that's 30 kilometers an hour on the straights. You don't need to be doing that.
No. You just do it in the braking zones, actually. That's where you really need fuel save. Yes, he's got a big squirky there, Mr. Bennett.
Now this could, I wonder how much will this favour Andy then? If he's been fuel saving, how happy is he that he now has someone ahead of him?
Well, with the amount that Andy needs to save and how drastically he was doing it, it was either he was drastically lifting off to let Alex get past him, or that he's in significant fuel issues.
He's in a Ford though, he shouldn't be in that much trouble, sure.
Well, if we're talking about half a lap of fuel, possibly even more, I don't know.
Tom
That's
Hooper.
still 2 litres.
Tom Hooper has spun. Well, is that a bit of karma, do you think, of his tussling with Blair Mann, and he's binned it, trying to follow him?
Oh yeah, and in that exact corner into an arch.
Well, that frees up Blair Mann to go chasing after the Venom pair now. And that's going to be interesting if he can close that gap down to the remaining 3 laps. Less than 10 minutes to go until the checkered flag falls. That's going to be an interesting one. Oh, Stephen Broomfield and Andreas Luter still continuing their argument for 14th position. still side by side almost, coming down to Arnage. And behind them, Gustav Holstein, there's a back marker in the way as well. But the Porsche is going to be gaining on them pretty quick. I think it was Victor Matios behind. I'll tell you something we haven't talked about. It's the zero incident limit. It is given by, held on by James Pinsker, who's now completely on his own. Alex Bennett, who's still...
Oh, as Lutus and Broomfield are going side by side through Porsche.
Oh, they are! Oh, that was close. That was
Pont
so
curve
close.
is never one where you really want to be going side by side because there's a very hard wall there on the right. And trust me, I've hit that today. In fact, actually, it's not very friendly either.
No.
Oh, that was just Lutus refusing to let that go, coming into the Porsche. I think Broomfield thought that one was done, and Lutus was like, "Nope, mine."
I'm going to send it down the inside of Pont curve, which is one thing that people don't normally say.
That was very well driven from both of them. So yeah, zero incident limit is what we were talking about. So Pinsker, Bennett, Gorton, Dan Alpols was still looking at Stephen Broomfield, thinking about a move on Andreas Lutus. Oh, he's going to yank that one on the inside of the Dunlop chicane. No. Oh, Lutus,
yeah.
Yes, he has. Lutus has gone too deep.
And that's going to be a slowdown for Lutus, which gives Broomfield the position.
Yep, and there it goes. Broomfield can now start to stretch his legs a little bit.
And can you not say zero incident limit? We do have an incident limit.
Is the points?
Okay.
I think surely it must be easier to list people that don't have zero instant points at Le Mans.
Well, there's only actually about 5, I think.
To be fair, we have had a lot of tussling going.
Yes. Normally, it is easier the other way around.
In a clean race around here, yeah, there are times where it seems to take forever to get your first instant point.
What's happened to Alex Bennett? He's just been passed by Andy Gorton. What's he done? That's coming down to
He has gone through Mulsanne, and then it's just lifted off.
No, he cut the apex. He was too greedy on the apex.
And that is also that is the harshest slowdown you can get around. I think it's 2.1 seconds.
Ooh, yeah, that's nasty.
So it's really bad.
And it's at that point where you're going the fastest.
Yeah, or you're scrubbing off the most speed. Yeah.
It's not even that straight is so long because unlike the Mulsanne, it's not interrupted by chicanes, and you end up reaching probably the second highest
and
speed
Broomfield
there.
are still side by side coming through that second chicane. They've now got Holstein right with them. Oh, let's go on the nose of the Porsche, because these two BMWs refuse to back down from one another. Broomfield, the Raptor Racing BMW on the right. Lutus, I think it's the Dingo one, isn't he? Yes, he is. I forgot what his team name was for a second. Side by side, still screaming down towards the Mulsanne. Now, surely this is going to go the way of Broomfield. Oh, has he gone too deep? No, a tiny bit. Here we go again. Now the Dingo's going to try and get on the right-hand side. Holstein doesn't want to get past the pair of them. And has got nowhere to go. Side by side, still heading down towards Indianapolis. The Porsche wants to push one. Here we go again. Oh, that is so close. Someone's going to have to blink in a minute. Actually, let's get on the chop again. That might be a bit better. Here we go. So the BMW is still side by side. The Porsche really doesn't know where to go at this point. Holstein's just going to have to wait for someone to basically skew it. Oh, as Broomfield nearly introduces himself to the boot of Lutus, and Holstein still wants to try and get past. And no, he's going to bounce out on the outside. Oh, can he get that one to stick? No, he can't. He can't get it to stick. That's possibly a bit frustrating for Holstein. Who's the back marker there? That's not the Darty.
Cooley.
We'll use Ryan McCooley as a camera car then.
Holstein was so close. You could just see it. I want to make a 3 wide. I shouldn't, but I want to, but I shouldn't.
Yeah. Goodness me.
Some frustration because you can't get past him, and Holstein has to be careful not to be taken out because the other guys don't look where everything else is. They're only looking at each other. As Bennett, I think, is going to go past Gordon in here.
Yeah, and he's not fighting that, so I think he's still got fuel-related issues.
This could be really close in the fight for runners-up position in the championship, because if Andy is tight on fuel and Martin overtakes him, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work with drop weeks in terms of points there, but it looks for runner-up positions behind James Pinsker. Bennett might have a slight chance in this one.
Brumfield again on Lotus. He's gone for the inside of Dunlop, but he's going to be on the outside for the chicane. Oh, is he going to get it done? Still side by side. Here comes Holstein to try and get involved in the party as well.
Oh, I'm just like, can you guys just like run wide somewhere
Yeah.
together, please?
Can
so I
you
can
just
slip
sort
by?
this out? Can you get on with it? Is basically what Holstein is doing. That's the rear camera from Lotus. He's been staring at that Raptor for quite a while, and then Holstein is just like, come on, get on with it. I mean, even though there's 11.6 seconds between
Holstein's
Lotus
got a
and
run here though.
Yeah.
But he can't do anything with it because there was nowhere for him to go.
Oh, Holstein can't make up his mind which way he's going. He's committing to it now.
Lotus has given Holstein the slipstream tactically to try and get him past Brumfield.
That's all that's going to do is box him in though.
Brumfield is using the middle of the straight advantage that I hit him about earlier.
My goodness me.
And Holstein has just backed out of that and thought, guys, this is
No.
just ridiculous.
Not doing that, and Brumfield quite wisely backed out of that as well. Did not fancy going side by side through that first chicane. Now onto the Hanadio once again. And just following the tyre tracks. This is a conga line behind Andreas Lutis, just left to right, dance and dance and dance. Here we go again. Lutis is defending the inside line. Brumfield thought about going inside of the inside, but didn't go for it. Oh, he's going to have to really commit. No, Holstein doesn't want to get side by side there as well. And no, once again Lutus defended it, but has Brumfield managed to force the wide from Lutus? Here comes Holstein. Can he get on?
Holstein disappeared.
Holstein lags. You pain. I was on board with you then. Never mind. There he is. The worst moment for a lag to happen. Thank you, Holstein. That was so anticlimactic.
It's actually the worst moment because he doesn't get slipstream while he's lagging because he won't see the other cars
No,
around
indeed.
him.
Oh, Brumfield's not going to have the inside going
Lotus
into
with the lock-up row.
Oh, and there's Holstein. Can he capitalise on Lutus? No, he can't. Brumfield has finally
Brumfield
gone
is now
ahead.
giving the slipstream to Holstein.
Oh, as Lutis is trying to go in front of them.
Wow.
They're both trying to get Holstein in between them, but only when they're in front of them.
As a reminder, there are 23 other cars in the race, but right now, only these three existence. Oh, Holstein's really close to the edge of the track. Raimu Cooley is loving the battle right
Oh,
ahead.
but why am I getting
Lutus! Andreas Lutus! did he? Now, was there impact or did he bin that one completely on his own?
He just lost over the
Yeah.
curb. He just used too much curb on the kink and just went round.
Holstein almost slams into the back of the Dingo BMW, but now he's just got Stephen Brumfield to deal with. There's Raimu Cooley behind. There you can see Lutus with Victor Matios for company. Goodness me, that was all kinds of insane. And the checkered flag is about to fall. Where is Talvar? He's just come out of the house, so he will see the checkered flag this time around. My goodness, what an intense battle that was, and it's still going on between the BMW and the Porsche. The checkered flag is now out, awaiting Rainer Talvar. As he parks it or bins it somewhere, this victory has been very well deserved to him. Whoa, Holstein! Holstein side by side with Brumfield, and he's got him as well. Wow, that was very opportunistic from the comrade Porsche to claim
There's
that 14th
a slight
spot.
mistake from Brumfield. He got very out of shape in Corvette and just had no run as they headed towards Ford chicane, and Holstein took advantage.
Wow, that was.
I mean, it doesn't gain him any points, but technically in the team's championship, which is already rounded up because Rainer Talvar won't score any points because he's in the wrong car, then technically CRG will get more points for that overtake.
That was a great move nonetheless. And Bennett is still got Gorton for company. Oh, what's going on? Oh, Santo and Chris Yardley still having a fight for 18th position as well. The grinning Ford behind the Porsche. Lutus and Matios have got this lap to resolve who's going to have 16th position. Holstein is really starting to stretch his legs. That's not Holstein, that's Holstein. Wrong Porsche. He's now 1.2 ahead of the Raptor BMW of Stephen Brumfield. But the day very much belongs to Rainer Talvar as he's just come through our Arnage for the final time. He's just got to basically coast home now.
Gorton was still lifting as they went into Mulsanne corner, but he has got the run on Bennett, so if he has got enough fuel, this is his last chance, really. Is he going to hold it around the outside?
That's
He's
close.
holding it. He's holding it.
Oh, yeah, but Bennett's not letting it go, though. He's going to have the inside line for a nudge if he can hold it. Oh, that's brilliantly
And
driven
Gorton's
from
going
both
to run out
of
of
them.
road there, and that's going to probably hand the position to Bennett because there's not really anything Andy can do.
It certainly did, but that was brilliantly driven from both Bennett and Gorton. There was no impact between the two, and so they remain on 0 incident points. And here comes Gorton again. Oh, is he going to try and make a move going into the Porsche curves? Bennett's having none of it, but the Ford's still hanging on in there. Whoa, he's gone too wide. That's going to be... Oh, what's Talbot doing? He's going over the line backwards. Your winner here in Le Mans, in great style, is Rainer Talvar backwards over the line in the Ferrari. James Pinsker for Team Tepper is going to navigate the final few turns and claim second position. Nicely done in the Team Tepper Ford. Third place. Very dramatic finish there for the Comrade Gaming Black team. It is the treble one Porsche of Alex Bennett. You made it home, Andy. You did the fuel saving you needed to do. He's going to take fourth position. Martin Nadlik is off into the dust. If you're celebrating, you've done it too early. You have not crossed the line yet. Although Dan Alpole... Oh, hold on a minute. He's out of fuel.
He just lost.
He's out of fuel. There's no engine revs for Martin Nadlik.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no! With one corner to go.
Oh, he lost it in the...
He did.
Oh my goodness.
No fuel for Martin Nadlik. Dan Alpole. Oh no, he's going again. Oh no, he managed to find a tiny bit of momentum. There's the Venom pair, Michael Edens.
What has happened?
Blair Mann.
What has happened is Martin has lost fuel and the rear axle has just locked as he's gone through the Ford chicane.
And Blair Mann is going to push his fellow comrade over the line, giving both of them a lot of incident points doing that.
And Hooper is reversing as well.
Well,
Everyone seems to be spinning
Why
and
not?
reversing through that chicane.
Arthur Van Putten leads home and Roberti Edouard for 11th position.
How about like, is he gonna reverse as well?
Let's have a look.
Well, will he make it through cleanly? No spin, by the looks of things. He's actually made it.
That's very untippo.
Yeah, untepper-like behaviour. Here comes Holstein. Oh, what might have been for the Comrade Gaming Black 109 Porsche.
I think you can say that about his whole season, to be honest.
Yeah, very true.
Oh, Edmondson loses
That was
wide,
close.
but losers just get that across the line.
Oh, Yardley is ahead of Santo as well. They've swapped around whilst we've been looking at everybody else. So Chris Yardley just about manages to fend off Thomas Santo. Oh, does he? No, he's actually let the Porsches through. At the last corner, the grinning forward of Chris Yardley actually pulls over and lets Thomas go. Maybe there was an impact between the two. Here comes Merlin. Merlin Cooper. You ran out of fuel already once, but you got away with it.
I think Yardley got a slowdown.
Oh, well, could have done. There's Stefan Kemke. Very much on his own. He'll probably deem this race to be dull by his standards. He did last time, didn't he? Over the line he comes for V3. And Mamano for Raptor. There in the background, Saradov and Alessandro Pontecorvi. Having a last-ditch scrap for 23rd. And that is going to see out all of our competitors. There's Pontecorvi, the last car to cross the line. And so then, the season is done, and this is how the standings fall. So Rainer Talvar takes the win in the wrong car, so he will technically be disqualified, but he took the win nonetheless. Then it was Pinsker, Bennett, Gorton, Alpole taking a very comfortable Pro-Am victory. Then Edens, Halliwell, Nadlik, Mann, Hooper, Van Putten, Edouard, Lagney, Holstein, Brumfield, Lutis, Matios, Santo, Yardley, Cooper, Kamke, Mamano, Dove, Pontecorvi, and those that didn't see the flag were Laudato, Cooley, Newland, Mariani, Pari, Smith, and Schiff. What on earth are the comrades doing? They're just having a little they're having a meeting on their own there.
They're having a, yeah.
I mean, it might make for good screenshots potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, why not? As I was reading through the names, I just saw a big group of comrade cars together. Oh, goodness me. What a race. What a way to see out the season. And for my final GTE broadcast. Oh, gentlemen. That was good fun. Rather enjoyed that.
That was amazing, as you know, Le Mans tends to give.
Tends to be, doesn't it?
It tends to be amazing. I know it's not always everybody's cup of tea, but you know, it gives both strategy and close racing, and we got it all here.
Yes, we did. Let's have a chat then with... Oh, I haven't even got my interview music running. That's how remiss of me. Right then, let's have a chat with our Pro-Am Victor, who was first to get himself ready for interview. Let's have a chat with Dan Alpole.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, that looked pretty comfortable for you. Was that fair to say, or were you working hard the whole race?
Well, it's never easy, but I did not expect to be that far up, no, but something happened to Tom earlier, so, and Rick wasn't here, so that's probably because of why.
I see. But
and I wasn't driving the car I should have been driving, so I'm not gonna win this race in the end. Because the BMW, I just could not get that thing around the track, but it was past Friday, so I just decided to drive the car I was most comfortable with, which was the Porsche. So,
well, that worked well for you, didn't it? Not a bad way to see the season out. Will you be back next time?
yes, I will. Not in the BMW, though.
Ooh, statements made. Nice.
Unless they change the tire model.
Yeah, that's always a big talking point, isn't it? The tire model. So, how's the season been for you?
Terrible.
This
is basically the first race I did not crash, spin, or speed on pit lane all by myself. So,
wow, nicely done. It was a great way to see the season out for you. Any questions, gents?
No, not from me.
Well, can you know? You already said that you're not gonna take the BMW. Can you give us a hint of which one that you're then gonna use?
probably the one I'm most comfortable with, because I'm definitely not on the pace of Rainer and James, so I'll just pick the car that I feel like I'll be most quick. Or I'll feel like I'll be quickest with.
Yeah.
Wise man indeed. Well done for seeing the season out with a win, and good luck.
Thank you all for commentating.
Great pleasure
having you here.
It was a great pleasure indeed. Thank you very much, Dan Alpole.
Thank you.
Mr. Clay, who should we have next?
Shall we? I think it's some ceremonious that we should have the race winner.
Inverted commas.
Race winner for now until post-race disqualification for being in the wrong car.
Indeed. Yeah. Let's have a chat with Rainer Talva.
Hello.
You enjoyed the Ferrari then, by the look of it?
A bit.
But my goodness me, could you have at least given everyone else a vague chance, or were you just enjoying driving off into the distance on your own?
Compared to the Bimmer, this was actually enjoyable to drive, so I opted for that because, the Bimmer I was just so...
Well, you were still giving us some decent racing in the BMW, but in the Ferrari you were absolutely League of One.
Yeah, I think a lot of setup work has gone into this week, and in general preparing for the Le Mans 24.
Fair point. Any questions, gents?
Will you be driving the Ferrari next season with the slight slight weight reduction that we've seen in the patch note, or will I don't see you taking up the Bimmer again from what you've said about it this season? So, is it likely to be Ferrari?
But every other car option is pretty much open right now. You just need to do a lot of testing, because last season really didn't do much testing and just went blind for the Bimmer, and it wasn't a really good choice. Always it worked out at the start, but after that...
Fair enough. Will you be back next season?
Most likely, yeah.
Excellent stuff. Good luck for next season and great win. Wrong car it may well have been, but it was a win nonetheless. Thank you very much. Reina Talva! Who should we have, Mr. Domino?
Oh, how about our champion of the season, Mr. Pittsburgh?
Let's have a chat with Team Tepper's own number one, James Pinsker.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, James. Well, champ. You had a lot of work to do tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a lonely race, particularly in the second half. But I don't know. I had a fun battle with Martin in the start before he had some issues, and I had some fun time with Andy as well in the second stint before he had to pit early. So yeah, I guess I'm happy to take P2. Well, definitely not the most exciting way to end the season for me, but I'll take the podium. Reina was just way too quick today in his Ferrari, so. Yeah.
Did you not feel under pressure at all when you were fighting against against Andy or against Martin, or were you just confident on keeping everybody behind you?
I was confident that I had a pretty similar pace to Martin and Andy. I think Martin was a bit. I think I was slightly quicker than both of them, particularly with the tyre wear towards the end. I think I had the second best pace on today, so I was confident I could keep them behind. I knew they wouldn't try and overtake because they were trying to fuel save, and then everything just fell into my hands with Martin making a few mistakes and Andy falling back at the end. I'm not sure what happened to him, but yeah, he fell back quite a lot at the end of the race. So yeah, I guess everything just fell my way in the end.
Fair enough.
Kind of like this whole season. It's really...
There's something to be said for being in the right place at the right time, but you've always been towards the sharp ends, and it has really paid off well for you. Congratulations once again, James. Any questions, gentlemen?
Well, it's mostly, are you gonna be back next season to defend your title? And are you gonna be using the number one?
Ooh, I'm not actually sure. I've yet to decide. You might see me next season. I might just do a Rosberg and just quit now, whilst I'm ahead. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely something to think about in the next couple of weeks. I have enjoyed my time here, but maybe it's time to move on. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. I think today I proved pretty well that I'm able to compete at the top level, even when the Ford isn't the best car. The Ford was pretty comfortably slower than the Ferrari and the Porsche at this track, which is the opposite of how it's been most of the season. So with that in mind, I don't know. I think I've proved what I've set out to prove here with a very solid season. So.
I will tease you with that. At the moment, the only driver who has been able to successfully defend a title is Holstein. So that could be a thing, to try and take that thing away from him as well.
Yeah, I would love to be able to prove that next season with maybe a slightly more equal balance of performance. My car was across this season the best car quite comfortably, which I don't know. If the balance of performance is better next season, then maybe we can see more close competition. I feel like Reina on his day, as he proved today, is the quickest guy in the field. So it'll be fun battling him maybe for some race wins next season. So yeah, we'll see.
Awesome stuff. Well, congratulations, champ. Enjoy that. You have very much earned it. And whether you return to us or not, good luck with your future endeavours. Thank you very much, James Pinsker.
Same to you, man. Same to you.
Very much appreciated. Right, who should we have next? We don't often speak to Mr. Cooper, so let's have a chat with the man that really wrung his fuel tank dry, Merlin Cooper.
Yeah, hello.
It's glad to have you in the box. We don't often have a chance to speak to you, Mr. Merlin. You were really gambling somewhat with your fuel tank in the first stint, I think it's fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I wasn't really gambling. I was just mixing up two numbers. I was doing LMP1 on this track all the week. And the fuel consumption is obviously different. So I thought I'm safe for another lap, but it turned to be out quite close. The engine did cut off in the Porsche curves.
We
And I
noticed.
thought
We did notice, I'm afraid. But if it's any consolation, you weren't the only one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe too less practice. Practicing a little bit more, and then it shouldn't be an issue at all. But this time, it was quite difficult, and I'm quite surprised that I ended up in P1 anyway. So,
What was your aspiration? Where did you realistically think you were going to end up at the end of tonight's race?
I was hoping for a podium because I didn't practice a lot. Just started running the GTE on this track this morning. But somehow I did get faster and faster, and the others must have made some mistakes as well during the race. And all of a sudden I was in P1. Didn't really realize. Stefan told me that I'm now the class leader, and I couldn't believe.
Well deserved and well driven, Mr. Cooper. Any questions, gentlemen?
No, from me. Just as someone who's run out of fuel in the past a couple of times, well, once, but we don't know about that. Well done on actually being able to put it back for the win anyway after running out of fuel.
Thank you.
Right. Great stuff. Thank you very much, Merlin, and good luck for your future racing endeavours. Thank you very much, Merlin Cooper.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Mr. Clay, your turn. Who next?
Shall we speak to Mr. Bennett?
Let us have a chat with Conrad's own Alex Bennett.
Hey there.
Hello, Alex. What are your thoughts after that?
I'd never want to see temps that high at Le Mans again.
A tad toasty. What was the biggest challenges that the temperatures were giving you?
Just lack of stability, mostly, especially through the Porsche curves. I mean, pretty much the whole week in officials, the temperatures were sort of between 30 and 40, and it was a lot more manageable. But yeah, with that race, I mean, especially the first half of the race, the car was just trying to kill me the whole way through there. So I was really struggling, and as it kind of cooled towards the end, I felt like my pace got much better. But yeah, it was really tough in the first half of the race.
I see. You handled it well, because it didn't look like you were kind of struggling as such, or it looked like you were not quite on the pace, but like you say, just that got gradually better and better as the race went on. Where were you kind of pitching yourself to finish before the race began?
I was definitely aiming for P2. I mean, with Rainer moving to the Ferrari, I knew it would be very difficult to beat him. And some of the officials we'd done, he was a little bit quicker than me, but yeah, it seems like with the higher temps, that gap was much larger. So I was aiming for P2, but considering what happened early in the race with qualifying and then re-spinning, I think third was pretty much the most I could have gotten by that point. So yeah, I'm reasonably happy with it. Should, I think, secure me second in the championship as well.
Nicely done. Any questions, gentlemen?
I mean, one from me is just you'll be happy to know, at least, therefore, that next season Le Mans is going to be at the same time of day as we've just had, but in June rather than May. So I don't think you're going to get your wish of the lower track temp.
Well, in game we were in June as well.
Oh yeah, because it's June the 1st now. I keep thinking it's May.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a bit hotter actually next time.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it. Before I go as well, I just want to say, especially to Kodiak and Domino who are stepping down the season, just a huge thank you from all of the drivers and the staff as well at AOR for the work that you guys have put in for the last few seasons in the iRacing side of things. It's been phenomenal. So thank you very much to that, and thanks to Apex for the commentary this season as well.
You are very welcome. It's been a great pleasure, and it's a sad time for me that it's come to an end, but appreciate the sentiments nonetheless. Thank you very much, Alex Bennett.
Cheers.
Domino, your turn. Who next?
Who should we have? What about Sarah?
The ever reliable for a chat. Let's have a chat with Sarah Dove.
Hello.
Now, I do believe you forecast last week that you weren't thinking you were going to do well this week.
Yeah, no, I didn't do last week. And
Or last time we spoke.
yeah, I didn't do last week, and I was like kind of on the fence for this week because for most of the season I've been nursing a sprained foot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it was my left foot, which is the breaking one, and I've got a load cell, so it's yeah. So earlier, it was kind of okay because even though it was painful, I could still put enough force on it to be able to brake properly, and thankfully I got like some good results. But in the past few weeks, it's gone from being more painful to less painful, but now it's not as stable. So I can't really put much on the brakes. So for this whole race, I was kind of having creative braking zones where they're really long. And then I'd get to the end of them and have to lift off because my foot was sore, and then I'd be going too fast and I'd spin. So
we did see
it was difficult.
You struggled a little bit more this week than in previous races we've seen you in. But goodness me, we very much appreciate your determination to see the season through. That is quite some dedication. Nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to. It's the finale and your send off kind of thing. So I wanted to try and get something.
Technically speaking, that's on Wednesday, which I do see you signed up for. But do bear your foot in mind. Although, yeah, the brakes are probably are going to be an afterthought on that event.
I'll just use Phil for brakes.
Oh, excellent stuff. Very, very kind of you to have that thought in place. But please do look after your foot. If it's too bad, please don't race, is what I would say to that. But excellent effort. Thank you very much, Sarah. Any questions, gentlemen?
Sarah, next season, are you gonna, sign up again? And is it again in the Ford?
It kind of depends on what's like how things are at the sign up. Because I'm hoping there's going to be a week break like this one, so it'll give me a couple of weeks to kind of recover a bit more, hopefully. But because I don't want to have to stop racing, but I might have to, which would be kind of annoying. But if I do sign up again, it will be in the Ford. Yeah.
Loyal.
Unless they bring out the Aston Martin.
I hear tell that's a no.
Oh.
They unfortunately put all the brakes on all the Aston Martin rumours and said there are no Aston Martins in the work, unfortunately.
Loyal to the Ford nonetheless, but great efforts, Sarah. Please do heal. Please do look after yourself. Your health is far more important than anything else, but it's been a great pleasure to commentate on your progress. Thank you very much, Sarah Dove.
I'll do my best, thank you.
That only leaves one more person that has sat very patiently in the ready to interview room. It is Stefan Kamke.
Hello.
Hello, good sir. How was your Ferrari today?
Purring like a kitten.
I had a feeling you would have an amusing answer to that question.
Yeah, it was solid despite the heat. I mean, Ferrari is not known for managing tires well, and somehow it worked. I guess I just made less mistakes than others, so and somehow miraculously I turned up second in class. No idea how.
Consistency is the answer to that one. Very nicely done. We didn't see a great deal of you in stream time, which is often not a bad thing, because a lot of the time when we were looking at people, they were off into the dust or serving slowdowns or what have you. So a solid performance, Stefan, nonetheless. Any other questions, gents?
Yeah, Stefan, can you talk us through? We have this event
was going to ask that afterwards, but yep, may as well kick in.
I'm gonna ask it now.
Go
Can you tell us what this is gonna go out? What cars are we racing, and why are we racing?
That's a little bit a bittersweet thingy, isn't it? So our absolutely legend here in the commentary box, King-Kodiak, Chris. Really sad to see you go, but I fully understand the reasons behind. And we were plotting maybe 2 weeks ago to do something special to send you off and reserved your Wednesday evening.
It's true, you did.
And we thought we have something to really get your voice tumbling and screaming and get you all excited in your bubbly talking.
Really looking forward to that.
So what we're doing is we're driving Legends, the Ford Legend 34 Coupe, which is basically a go-kart with
isn't it a 1200cc Yamaha engine stuck inside a small chassis? Is essentially what it is.
Something like that, and it's an absolute riot to drive.
They're bonkers.
I mean, it's Legends for the legend.
It is indeed. The event is called Legends for a Legend, which is going to be slightly awkward for me to commentate on that, but I will really look forward to that. I can't wait for that particular event. That is what is going to see me off on a high from the iRacing side of AOR. It has been an absolute ball and a blast. I have loved every race I have covered. And I'm very glad that it's been enjoyed by you all. It's been an absolute blast. What can I say? But we will save the final farewells for Wednesday. Wednesday, 8 p.m. UK time, I believe, is what? Or do we aim for 7:30? I actually haven't looked at the forum post.
About the same race start time as this.
So it'd be 7. Yeah. It's about 7:30 UK time is when we're looking to get the Legends race underway at Brands Hatch Indy, no less. So please do tune in for that. But there's plenty of other racing going on in between then and now. So do tune in for that as well. So from my side for the GTEs, it is my final farewell. But we have the race on Wednesday for me to shout about. So until then, thank you very much and good night.